everyone. This is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. My guest today is Jane Archer. Jane is a cruise journalist, and she's an award-winning cruise journalist who lives in the UK, and she writes for the Daily Telegraph and lots of other cruise publications. Welcome, Jane. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I'm really glad that you've joined us today. We've got 50,000 women in our 60 and Me community, and a lot of them love cruising. But also a lot of women in my age group are, working to a budget. They live their lives very carefully, and some of us didn't survive very well of the 2008 financial crisis. So everything we do, is budgeted. And so when you do a cruise, it's expensive enough to start with. But I'd love to talk with you about some ways to, really spend less on a cruise and experience more, experience everything it has to offer. Do you have any tips and tricks for us?
Well, the main one has to be really the focus on shore excursions, because the reason you're on that cruise really most of the time for everybody is to go to the destinations that you're going to. Right. So you want to go ashore, you want to go and see everything that you possibly can in the time that you've got ashore. But the shore excursions can be very, very expensive. So the key thing to do is do your research before you leave, find out the places that you want to go to, see what appeals to you, and then look around for other ways that you might be able to do it a bit cheaper. You can often, these days when everything is so much online, you can actually go and find companies, tour companies that will provide what it is that you want, as I say, rather than buying into just what the cruise lines offer. Sometimes what they offer is fine, and there are some excursions and some places that you'll go to where it's very difficult to do anything other than that. But where there are options, it's definitely worth looking around.
And you could always meet another woman or guy that wants to do similar kind of plan and find. I think the only hesitancy would be doing it by yourself. If you're a woman alone and you arrive in a strange place and getting a taxi to the center of town and trying to make your own way. I suppose that could be a bit challenging, but we're not talking about.
I think you're right, and actually also I do think that sometimes if you're on your own, you don't really have a lot of fun. You might be doing what you want to do, but it's always nice to have somebody else there to interact with. And when you're sitting down to have a meal, I've gone and dined out on my own many times, and it's fine. But you do tend to find that that your mobile phone has become your best friend. Which is a bit sad, really. It's much nicer to have somebody else to talk to. So if you can team up with somebody else, it is a really nice way to do it. Obviously, if you're traveling with other people or in a group, or you might even meet people, at dinner time, and you can all start talking about where you fancy going or whatever, and then you can organise to go ashore together. And sometimes you don't have to have done it in advance. As long as you've got some idea of where you want to go and an idea of what you want to see, you can go off the ship and you'll find that there are people there who are waiting to take you on different tours. And invariably, it does save quite a bit of money.
And there's also some cruise lines, I think, that let you connect beforehand. They have an online forum where you can meet other people that are going to be on that cruise with you, and you can even maybe book it in advance. Have you ever thought about or do that?
It is possible, and I know, for instance, the Cruise Critic website, they have what they call their boards, and I know a lot of people use those to connect with others who are going to be on the cruise, and they hook up and they make friends that way
beforehand.
So absolutely, it is definitely a way that you can do it, and it does make it quite friendly if you're on your own. It's a nice way to buddy up with someone if you're not confident about being able to meet people once you're on board. But I have to say that I've never had a problem. I've never done that, but I've always made friends with people once I'm on board.
The other thing I would mention just briefly, you may not even be aware of this, but there's a company called Viable, Vyable, Viable.com. And when I was in Copenhagen, I only had a day, and I wanted to go to a place I was a bit nervous to go by myself. So Viable matches you up. It's like an Airbnb kind of situation where you say, I'm going to be in this place, and it lists the people that are willing to take you on a tour of their city. And because it's reputation based, people are approved and verified and rated by other people. These Viable tours are very fun and cost effective. So you can always check out that too. It's really
I've never
cool.
heard about that, but it's
Yeah,
exactly the same sort of thing, isn't it?
exactly.
So it is making sure that you're not going to be on your own,
Yes.
but also giving you some companionship,
Yeah.
and seeing the places that you want to see. I mean, I think also it's very very important because to make sure that the tour that you're doing is the tour that you want to do.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm not a great fan of going shopping, and I find it always very very disappointing if a tour, you're visiting, I don't know, whatever it might be, a church, a cathedral, or a
Right.
museum, or whatever, and you're rushed out because you've got to go half an hour, three-quarters of an hour,
The
whatever,
factory.
shop. And I don't want to do that. I
Yeah.
actually want to stay and do the
Yes.
things that I want to
Yeah.
do. So I think it's important, as I say, shop around, see what there is
Right.
out there. And if you're going to do a private tour, make sure that the person you're with knows what you want to do
Right.
and will fit into that.
Okay, so we've got to be careful with shore excursions. That's going to help your budget if you can do it on your own or team up. What else? What other ways can we save money on cruises?
Well, one of the ways you can do it is to look at the various packages that the cruise lines offer on board. So for instance, a lot of them charge for the specialty dining,
Mm-hmm.
but also then you might be able to buy a package of, I don't know, say three different restaurants, four different restaurants, and there will be a saving on going in to each one and paying individually
Right.
for that.
Right.
So that's one way that you might want to save. You can also buy drinks packages on board. The only thing I would say about that is you do need to suss it out quite carefully because a lot of them are quite expensive and assume you drink an awful lot. So you need to really be honest with yourself
Yes.
and say, yes, I do drink an awful lot, or no, I don't drink an awful lot, and therefore this is not going to pay me to do this. And so, as I say, you need to work it out. But if you do drink a lot, I mean, if you are liable to go through, let's say, 2 bottles of wine plus several liqueurs or whatever during the day, you might well find that that is going to save you quite a bit of money.
Yeah. I think that these are great ideas, and I think that it gets back to this point of what you really want from the cruise. And I think when you get on the cruise and you see all these great packages and these great options, and I mean, I'm for spa treatments. I mean, for women, that's like a big lure, like go and have a massage or have you. But really, when it comes down to it, I'm actually looking to go to the cities and the towns and destinations, and I can do my own little spa in my, in my room. You don't need to spend $80 or whatever.
No, no.
Or
I mean, the thing is that the spas are absolutely lovely,
yeah, I
actually,
bet, yeah.
and sometimes it's a place you just feel you really need to just go and be pampered just a little
Just
bit.
once, maybe.
But they're not cheap, so you really do have to work it out. Is it worth it? Or, I mean, if you're feeling really brave now, I recently did a trip on the Mekong River back in August, and was with another journalist,
Yes.
and we decided to go and have a foot massage in one of the little massage parlors that line the front the water down in Phnom Penh. And it was all very bizarre, and we managed to negotiate the price, which I think it was something ludicrous, like $3 each for a half-hour
great.
massage.
I know. That's very good.
We were taken into this room and then taken upstairs and into a back room, and we kind of looked at each other and thought,
That's okay.
oh, well, what is this? But I have to say, it was the best foot massage I have ever had. And they must have actually given us a massage. It wasn't far off an hour by the time they'd finished. And it
That's
was
great.
absolutely superb. So, of course, we gave them twice what we had negotiated because that's just an unbelievable price. But my point is that you don't always have to, if you really want pampering, if you want to go into a spa, there are these places ashore as well. And that's another way you can make some money. The Wi-Fi is another one to think about.
Yes,
Wi-Fi on
yes.
board can be very expensive. So if you have the opportunity to take, if you need to have a computer, a laptop, take it ashore. Go into the terminal because they often have free Wi-Fi.
Uh-huh. That's
A
great
good
idea.
tip is to ask your waiter or someone if they know for the next port you're going to where to go for some free Wi-Fi because they're always trying to find out where it is. So
That's
follow the crew. That's
No,
that's
that,
always a
no,
good
that's a
motto.
great idea. That's a really good idea because I remember, and I did my Mediterranean cruise about, oh gosh, 8 years ago. And I remember it was so expensive, and we didn't have the even Wi-Fi the way it is today. So that's a great idea that most of the stations or most of the terminals would have Wi-Fi for their own staff. So
Absolutely,
just take a
absolutely.
lightweight laptop with you.
Yes, yes, and I mean it's amazing. You'll see all the crew, and they're all huddled out there using it. There is a reason. It's because it is free. Obviously, they want to be talking to home, so yeah, as I say, follow the crew. That's always a very good tip.
I think follow the crew is a great idea. Do you know, it's funny. When I was a little girl, my first boat trip was with the Queen Elizabeth, like the first Queen Elizabeth. Like this is like way back in the 50s or 60s. And I remember it was there was a Russian crew or something. And I remember this Russian sailor telling me that the best treatment for seasickness was rye bread, dark bread. And actually, I don't know whether it's psychological. I've remembered him all my life, and every time I get sick a little bit on trains sometimes. I'll just have rye bread or dark bread, and it's okay.
Really?
But I don't know. I think it's more my impressionable youth. I actually believed he was telling the truth.
Well, if it works, it works. I mean, I
Exactly.
think always the important thing. I don't know how we've managed to get onto seasickness now from saving money, but anyway, always I think the thing to have is just something that's not very exciting, just so that your stomach just feels a bit calmer. So don't eat anything spicy or anything like that. Just as you say, something dry, and that often does help to settle your stomach. Yes.
Well, I'm glad that we did touch on seasickness just for a second there because people probably have it in the back of their minds. So, but we'll let it go. The most of these cruise ships are just so magnificently weighted and built that it's not such a huge problem anymore. I remember in
Well, it isn't, and I have to, and I just would add there that if anyone is actually worried about that, and it does worry some
yes,
people, to be honest, go on a river cruise
yes.
because it's never a problem on a river cruise, and you will have a wonderful holiday, but you won't have to worry about being seasick. So it's
Okay.
great.
Great advice. Okay, I think you've given us some good ideas for how to save money and experience more on a cruise. And I've made notes, and I'm going to follow it on the next trip I do. So thank you so much for being here, Jane. I really appreciate your
That's a pleasure.
insight.
Thank you.
Thank you.